Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 4 of the 5-part series. We are the Ball Oasis show. Getting into power forward top 10 rankings today. But before we start that, I think it is worth mentioning one thing that's happened in the relatively dead NBA over the past few weeks. There's been a rule change. There's been a rule change where it only affects really certain teams. Only a few teams have been kind of guilty of it, but teams are no longer allowed to rest multiple players in
All-star level players, yeah.
all-star level players in the game, and it's kind of a strange rule because you have to have certain significations of what you know how to group those players. But
Yeah.
obviously, you think of like who that would involve. You immediately think of the Clippers. You think about PG and Kawhi. A lot of times them both sitting out games in the regular season. We saw Ty Lue make those clown comments that we've mentioned here before, talking about they're going to take the regular season more serious. It looks like the NBA is going to make them, even if they didn't want to. So players are no longer allowed, or teams are no longer allowed to rest multiple players just for rest purposes. Jacob, we might see a thing where there are more like ticky-tack injuries,
Yeah.
you know, sore toes or,
Don't
bruised knees, we might
yeah.
see something like that pop up. What do you think about that rule?
I agree with it to an extent. Looking at the player's perspective, it is a long season, 82 games, back-to-backs, road trips, everything like that. So I understand, the guys do have injury history. But as like a team ownership or like fan perspective, you do want to see the players play every night or at least one of them. You don't want to, they don't want fans to go to a game and it'd be a problem with people not playing. So I agree with it, but I do see why some players wouldn't like it. It's interesting because the one exception is LeBron. I think if you are over 35, just came out I think today or yesterday. If you're over 35 or played a certain amount of minutes in your career, you're an exception. I think you can have some load management.
See, I had no idea that was even a thing. I didn't know that he was kind of an exception from the rule.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't seem like it how good he is, but I guess being 38 has its perks.
I think we can call this the Kawhi Leonard rule. I think
It's the Clippers rule, yeah.
Yeah.
They
Well,
were making
even before the Clippers, I mean, Greg Popovich was doing it on the Spurs.
yeah. They were making
before Kawhi Leonard with Tim Duncan and Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili, those guys.
Yeah, they were making jokes on social media of PG and Kawhi going to hurt their wrist, flipping a coin of who's going to sit out each game or each half. But yeah, so yeah, I like it more than I don't, but we'll see how it works.
We've seen a lot of these rule change talks be centered around, players taking the regular season more seriously. We've seen the whole All NBA team thing where you have to reach a certain threshold of games to qualify for postseason awards, which I think is a great idea. I think it's tough for the players who will miss it because of they're actually seriously injured, but it does eliminate, players who are sitting out just for rest purposes. And we'll see, if it has a positive or a negative impact, but I think it will hurt. I think it will help the on-court product in the regular season. I think it will have people more interested in the regular season.
Yeah.
We can say.
I think they're trying to do it like what they're doing with the in-season tournament, just trying to get more regular season involvement from the fans and more people caring about the regular season, not just the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into our power forwards. Power forwards was an interesting list to do because at the top, it's pretty top heavy, and then you have a little bit of a gap, and you have all these kind of all-star, sub-all-star tierish guys. All-star power forward was a tough one to do. Wouldn't you say, Jacob? Power forward was a tough ranking list to make.
I think we've said that every position. I thought it'd get easier, but it's the same or harder every time.
Yeah. The thing about the power forward position is that there are so many different kinds of like power forwards. Like we see the offensive minded power forward, and then we have guys, like Draymond Green, who are more of a, point forward defensive anchor type player. And we see a few more guys like that throughout the league. So the archetype of the power forward position, there's not just one, centralized archetype. There's so many different ones. So that's what I think makes power forward one of the toughest ones. And it kind of made small forward tough as well.
Yeah.
As we saw last episode. But Jacob, without further ado, go ahead and give me your honorable mentions before we get into this top 10.
I hate leaving this guy off. So my honorable mentions are Tobias Harris and Aaron Gordon. So I'll say Draymond did not make my list.
Wow.
We know what he does, but what he can do is just, I guess, number wise, and if his numbers keep going down a little bit every year, but with Aaron Gordon and Tobias, I think they're I'd say I don't even know if they'd be sub all-star. You could probably make a case some years for them, but they're great role players. Both of them have a role within their team that they can play really well. Both have been good, had a good defensive year, especially Aaron Gordon. He had a lot of defensive roles, especially even in the playoffs. The finals, he was against Jimmy. I think he guarded LeBron some, but yeah, those are my honorable mentions. They easily could have been on the list, but I think the guys above them could have a better year. Could have a slightly better year.
That's interesting because I have neither of those guys as honorable mentions. My honorable mentions, Draymond Green. Draymond Green is one of my honorable mentions. I would have felt remiss personally.
Yeah,
if I left him off the list because last year, Warriors only got to the second round, but we know Draymond Green is even at his older age so impactful, and they made sure that they kept him, around. They could have let him go. But they know how valuable he is to the team. So I would have been remiss leaving Draymond Green out. And I guess maybe it's the bias in me, but this guy's numbers were really good last season. So I had to keep Jeremy Grant on my honorable mention list as well. He averaged like over 20 points. Was in realistic All-Star talks for the Western Conference forward position. And he was one of the lone bright spots on a underperforming Trailblazer team last year. So I got to give some love to my guy, Jeremy Grant. One of my favorite players to watch. But yeah, those are my two honorable mentions. Different from yours, so I'm interested to see where these lists go.
Yeah, I'm interested. We'll see.
Yeah, give me your number 10 to start it off.
My number 10, he's hard to. I won't say he's hard to rank, but my number 10 is Evan Mobley. He averaged 16, 9, and 3. His shooting could improve, which I think it will this year. I think, obviously he was, I believe, second, or he was top 3 in, defensive player of the year voting. I think he could have a case for MIP, especially if his offensive numbers go up. He only attempts 1-3 a game. I think that'll slightly go up this year. When he was defensively, I think Cleveland had the number 1 defense last year, if not top 2 or 3.
Yep.
And he was the main reason for that. They funnel stuff to him sometimes, even though he does have Jared Allen. But I think he had a great impact last year and helped them to the playoffs, and subpar in the first round against New York. But I think he'll have a better year this year, and hopefully we'll see his offensive numbers get up. Maybe he might can go from a 16-9 to like an 18-11 guy.
Yeah, I really like Evan Mobley. I liked him a lot coming out of USC. And my main question with him was his offensive game. I didn't know, how well his offensive game would translate to the NBA, but it's looked pretty good so far. And by no means is he, a knockdown perimeter shooter, but the fact that he's even taking, long range attempts and is attempting a little over a 3-point attempt a game shows promise in his young career that he can be a threat from the perimeter. And we know alongside Jared Allen, like you said, how good he is in the interior. Locking down the paint. And I like his switchability. He kind of has that Bam Adebayo level of switchability where he can guard perimeter players. So I think that makes Evan Mobley a really, really good candidate to move up this list a good bit, as the season progresses. But at number 10, I've got Aaron Gordon. I've got Aaron Gordon here at number 10. We know how impactful he was in that final series, especially, but throughout the entire playoffs, Aaron Gordon was, super impactful, especially defensively for Denver. And Aaron Gordon, 16.7 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 56 from the field, 35 from 3 on 2.5 attempts. But his switchability defensively is the biggest thing for me. His ability 2 years ago in the playoffs, he was guarding Damian Lillard in the playoffs. And we saw this year he was taking, Bam Adebayo assignments and LeBron and AD assignments. So the fact that he can go from 1 through 5, realistically a 1 through 5 guy shows a lot about Aaron Gordon. And he, shot the ball really well in the playoffs. We know that he can extend his range to the outside. He made some timely threes in the playoffs.
Mhm.
We know how explosive he is, robbed of a slam dunk championship all those years back. But Aaron Gordon, I would have been remiss if I would have left him off the list. He had a great year, and it ended with him, holding a finals trophy. So he's in my top 10 going into the next year.
Yeah, he definitely had a case for mine. Before we do go to number 9, I want to add to Evan Mobley. If Cleveland trades Jarrett Allen, which there's rumors to, I really think he could really go up this year, especially with his defensive impact. He'll have, I guess, they'll be able to play more space, so I think he would have to attempt more shots. So I think his volume would make his numbers go up.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and segue into my number 9. Evan Mobley is my number 9. Yeah, like you said, there's potential that Jarrett Allen may be moved. So Evan Mobley, it'll bring on a lot more responsibility for him, but I think he's one of those guys who can really anchor a defense single-handedly.
Yeah.
His length is, almost unmatched in the league, especially at the power forward position where he currently plays. But we know he can run 5 also. Evan Mobley. The big thing with Evan Mobley is, I think it's a pick and roll big. I think as a pick and roll big, he can definitely improve, especially having Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell as his guards, which are 2 guards who like to initiate the pick and roll. And we've seen Jarrett Allen be an all-star running that pick and roll. We've seen how, successful he's been in that. So I think that's the next step of Evan Mobley's evolution. I think a lot of it comes on the offensive end with things like that, but I think it's very possible. I think it's a very attainable thing for him to do. So he's at my number 9.
Okay. My number 9, I have Paolo Banchero. He averaged, I know you're high on him. I am kind of high on him. He averaged 20 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 42% on 16 field goal attempts. I guess the thing with Paolo is he could shoot from the 3 better. Obviously, he is. Looking at some of the numbers, and I've watched some highlights, I didn't know he was that good of a playmaker, sort of. Which his vision is really good. He can hit guys on the cut. Like I said, it was a rookie, so of course there's going to be some improvement. I think, especially when he is the number 1, maybe number 2 guy scorer on Orlando. But I think Paolo will have, and he was an All-Star talk last year, slightly.
I don't know if it was really serious, but he was one of the most considered guys on that Magic team alongside like Franz Wagner.
Yeah, this year, I think this year, I really wish I put him higher, but I gave respect to the other guys above him. But I think he could be an All-Star this year. At least he will play All-Star level, but he could have a case, especially if Orlando is higher in the standings than last year.
Yeah, I'll segue right into my number 8. I've got Paolo at number 8. You might have thought I had him higher, but
I thought that face you made, I was like, he might have him higher.
Yeah, I thought about it, but like you said, the guys who are above him, they're a little more proven. But with that being said, I think Paolo's going to be an all-star. I think Paolo is going to be an all-star in his second year. The signs are just all there. The signs are all there that he is a complete basketball player. And I hate that he didn't have as big as a role as he did on Team USA and the FIBA stuff. I wish he had a bigger role on that team. But Paolo's got all the makings of a star player in this league, and I think he'll be an all-star. The Magic will be much improved this next season. I 100% believe. Like you said, I don't put a lot on his rookie season, like efficiency numbers, because we see that happen all the time with even the greatest of players. Their, rookie seasons, the efficiency is it's not great, but I think that's, something he can definitely improve on and will improve on. Defensively, he's one of those guys that can anchor a defense, but at the same time, he can switch onto the wing and guard some wing and perimeter players. He's got that in his bag, and I think Paolo's footwork and his post move potential is through the roof as well. He can operate from all areas of the court, which a lot of guys at his position can't really say. So I've got Paolo at number 8 with the potential of rising in the top 6 or top 5 in this list this next season for sure.
Yeah. Actually, I'll say 7 at least. You want me to do my number 8?
Yeah, go ahead.
Looking at my list, I could flip my 7 and 8, but I'll leave it right now. My number 8, I have Lauri Markkanen.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Looking at it, he definitely could be higher, but I think since last year he won most improved player last year. I know he had a few different stops. He finally found his role in Utah. I know places like Chicago and Cleveland, he was 6-man, sometimes not even that, kind of just lost his role. But Utah, he thrived. 25, 8 and 2, 50% from the field, and then almost 40% on 7 attempts from 3, which is, I don't think it's that good, but for somebody his size, that's really good.
That's insane.
We saw Utah last year. Beginning of the year, we saw Utah. They were like a top team, for first month or two. He was a All-Star last year. I think he can do it again, but I guess since that was his first year doing it, which I think his numbers might be better, around the same, but I guess I'll just give the respect to the guy above him. But he definitely can move up in this list easily, I think.
It's interesting because Lauri Markkanen's a little higher on my list, I'll go ahead and say.
Yeah.
And I think, personally, that of everybody on this list, I think he had a top 3 offensive season for a power forward last year.
Oh, he did. He did.
I think he did.
Like I said, I really wanted to put him higher. Now, my number 7, honestly, I probably would change him to my 7, but the guys above him, I'll give the benefit of the doubt to.
I wonder if we have the same number 7. What if we do?
He's the hardest player to rank in basketball.
Okay, did we have the same number 7 then? We 100% have the same number 7. Zion Williamson is our number 7.
No. No.
No?
No.
Really?
I'm giving Zion one more year.
Okay. Let me pump the brakes. Let me pump the brakes. I'll go ahead and talk about Zion since I revealed he's my number 7. Hey, Jacob, you threw me a curveball. 26 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists in the 29 games that he did play last season. Even though it was on less than 1 attempt from 3, he shot 37% from 3. So, and he shot over 60% from the field for like the 3rd straight season. But name of the game with Zion, as we know, will he play? And he was the toughest guy for me to rank. That's why I thought we had the same. Because we know at his best he's top 3. He's top 3 on this list.
He's tough, but I'll talk about him a little bit. He's tough to rank, but I'll wait till I get to him.
I was about to say, you know how high I was on him going into last year.
I'm surprised. Yeah, and that's why I'm surprised. We'll see.
But the thing is, everybody above him on my list were all-stars last year.
Yeah,
everybody was an all-star that's above him on my list, so I could not bring myself to putting him above them.
Was everybody an all-star, or was one not? I'm trying to think if you left a player off. We'll see when we get.
Julius Randle was an all-star, right?
I think. No.
I'm on 5.
No, he was. We'll see. We'll see if we get.
I would say if he was, I'm pretty positive everybody that I have above Zion was an All-Star.
We'll see. We'll see because I there's a guy on my list that was an All-Star that's higher. We'll see.
I might be tripping, but almost everybody above him was an All-Star. Point is, Zion played 29 games, and until he plays over 50, 60 games, I'm not going to put him in the top 5 because we just don't we haven't seen it materialize outside of 1 year. So I've given Zion a chance, and I mean I'm going to continue to root for him and hope that he has success, but I'm not going to base my expectations for him off of something that I haven't seen yet. So
yeah,
I've made that mistake once.
Yeah, see, I was looking the benefit of the doubt. I have him pretty high. Who
do you have at number 7 then?
This is where I have Julius Randle.
Okay.
He is the hardest player to rank. He can have an All NBA year, then the next year he act like he seems like he isn't that good. But he had a great year last year. He averaged 25, 10, and 4, 46% on almost 20 attempts, 34% from 3. I really think with the addition of Jalen Brunson, it helps Randle thrive, in my opinion. Because in years past, he did have a lot of the playmaking and on-wall, offensive load, which we saw Jalen Brunson had a really good year, all-star level. So he really helped Randle kind of take that load off, and he be able to play more of his game. But like I said, Randle was All-NBA, I think 3rd team.
Yeah, he was.
So, like I said, he can be really good, a really good forward. I guess it's just his inconsistency sometimes, and we know his some of the shots he takes. He does take some tough shots a lot of nights, but I think Randle will have another solid year. Maybe slight regression, but I think he'll have another great year, all-star level year.
This is just my personal opinion, but I think 7 is really low for Julius Randle. I've got him a deal. I've got him a good deal higher.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I've been overly critical of Julius Randle, and I've learned from my mistakes. Julius Randle's a really good player, and I think that playing in New York definitely brings a lot of unnecessary hate to him. And I think that the shot selection does, kind of, bring some of that as well. But Julius Randle's a really good player.
Either I might be really high on one player, or he's not on your list. We'll see. Who's your number 7? Well, you had.
I had Zion at number 6. I got Lauri Markkanen. I've got Lauri here at number 6. Like you said, super efficient offensively, was the driving force of that Utah team last year, kind of out of nowhere. It was really good to see Lauri Markkanen get a second chance like this, where he can be the centerpiece of an offense and really, play his game, unlike he was able to in Chicago and Cleveland, where they kind of, subjected him to a, corner shooter role.
Yeah, play by the role.
Yeah, and that was really, I watched him in college. That's not his game. That's not what he did. We knew that he could be even a secondary ball handler at times. And he's a, shot creating big, which is something that you don't see. And that was something that was taken away from him in those earlier stops. But in Utah, he really thrived last season. Now, I think defensively, he was better than the numbers showed. Obviously, Utah was not a good defensive team, but Lauri Markkanen took on some of the toughest assignments defensively last year with all that great offensive production as well. So I think he was, even with the numbers that he put up, I think he was still one of the most underrated players in the NBA last year. So I've got him here at number 6 on my list. I'm sure Lauri's going to move up.
He could definitely move up. I had him at 8, but definitely can move up. Like you said, he had top 3 offensive year. And
I think so.
I think so. Like I said, I think he'll do it again this year, but he definitely, power forward might be a list next year that could definitely have a lot of changes to it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Who's your number 6?
My number 6, he should, I don't know. This is where I have Jaren Jackson Jr.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this.
He averaged 20 points.
Jaren Jackson Jr. hate is back.
I could have had him like 8 or 9.
What? Are you
and
serious?
I'm saying if I wanted to hate on him, he'd be low.
I was gonna say you can't realistically do that.
He no. He's grown on me. I don't hate him as much, but still overrated a little bit. But I think he has received a lot of backlash from FIBA. You know, the rebounding issue, rebounding, he's received some backlash, which FIBA and NBA is different. We all know that. But definitely could have been higher. I'm just giving the other players that leeway. But, you know, Defensive Player of the Year, we know what he does on defense. He's single-handedly made Memphis I won't say single-handedly, but he was the main reason that they went. When he missed time, they were a bottom
third defensive team.
Yeah, and then I think when he came back from his injury, they went to a top 10. Was it top 5?
It was at the end of the year, yeah.
Yeah, so we know defensive what he can do. 50% from the field, 13 attempts, 35% from 3, which that's one of his biggest things. Sometimes the inconsistency from 3, but he can shoot them. I think with Ja missing the first 25 games, it was like we said with Desmond Bane, he's going to have a bigger offensive role.
Yeah.
So I think his numbers will go up. I really just think it depends on how much he will shoot or where he kind of plays from, whether it be the post or the perimeter some. So he will have – his numbers will go up for sure this year, I think. And they lost Tyus, but Marcus Smart is not the worst playmaker. He can still make stuff happen for an offense. So I think that'll be really good for Jaren. And definitely, like the last few guys, he definitely will be higher, could be higher. I think it really just depends on how these guys play. And like I said, I'm giving Zion one more year, and until I try to drop down on him. But
man,
it's number 6 where I have Jaren Jackson.
6 is low, man. 6 is low, bro.
Power 4 is hard. It really is. Like,
look, I seriously considered. I won't reveal where I have Jaren just yet, but I seriously considered putting him top 3.
No,
I considered it.
R1 and 2 is probably the same.
Yeah.
But my 3 through 6, I'll even say 3 through 8. You can convince me any order for those, I think.
Okay. My number 5. This is where I have Julius Randle. I have Julius Randle at number 5.
I'm trying to. Okay, I think I know. You can go ahead.
I have Julius Randle here at number 5. Shot the most 3-point attempts, most mid-range attempts out of any power forward on this list. Offensively, I think Julius Randle's got it. You know, I think his shot selection kind of hinders him a little bit, and that's, on him. But I like that the Knicks give him freedom to, do his thing on the offensive end. I think that they've been a successful team when Julius Randle has been given the freedom to do his thing on the offensive end. He's one of the best rebounders on this list, double-digit rebounder at 10 rebounds a game. And he averages 4 assists. So he brings every component of the offensive game to the table for that New York Knicks team that kind of needs him to do it, because without Julius Randle in the lineup, that New York Knicks team is considerably worse than they are with him off the floor. With him on the floor, I should say. Defensively, I think Julius Randle has some areas where he can improve, but I like his switchability. He can guard both wing positions. He can guard bigs, and he can even step out to the perimeter and play all right pick and roll defense. I'm putting Julius Randle top 5. I've fallen a victim in the past of unnecessarily hating on Julius Randle. I've been a victim of that. And whether it be, like, we know, was it 2 years ago that he was named an all-star, and we were just kind of like, Julius Randle, like, and he was most improved player. Wasn't he most improved player that year?
It had to be, yeah.
Yeah, and we were like, okay, Julius Randle, like, you had a fluke here. You're not going to do this again.
Yeah, I think we both said that, and I am victim to some biases towards him, which he is in the same division as my favorite team. So, but like you said, yeah, I'll let you finish. But yeah, he was hard.
Yeah, so I really thought he had a great year last year. Like you said, All NBA third team. He was outside of our top two guys, he was the only player on this list that made an All-NBA team. So I took that into account, when making this list. I think he's a lock for top 5 on this list. I thought about putting him higher, but I'm gonna put him at number 5. I think Julius Randle at number 5 is a good place to put him.
All right, I'll segue to my number 5. This is why I have Karl Anthony Towns.
Okay.
You had him on your list, didn't you?
No.
You didn't? Okay. Well, this is why I had Karl Anthony Towns. He played. I believe he only played 29 games last year.
Mm-hmm.
From in dealing with the injury, I think he'll be a lot better this year. I think he'll play more games. He averaged 20 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, almost 50% from field, 36% from 3, on 6 attempts, which will go up. The reason I have him on my power forwards is because of Rudy Gobert as a center.
Yeah.
Because normally Cat would be on the center list.
Right.
Like you said, could be the year he gets traded. So depending on where he goes, numbers could definitely go up. I think his numbers will go up anyway. I think Minnesota will figure out the double big man thing, how to use them. I know a lot of stuff's going to run through Anthony Edwards, but I think Cat, his shooting ability, his scoring offensive ability, I really think his numbers will still be there. Rebounds are going to go down with Rudy. But I think last year, he's still an all-star level player. He's been All-NBA before, hadn't he?
He has, yeah.
I think it's been a few years, but he can definitely get back to that level. I know he has dealt with some injuries last few years, but I really think he'll have a bounce back year, and I really hope he'll be healthy for more than half the season. But I really think Cat will have a really good year, or a decent year.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. That I was trying to make sure you had that our stuff got.
Yeah, I think I tweaked because we talked about it before. Yeah. And did we say we were going to put him on power forward?
Yeah.
That's my bad then. That's my bad. I was wondering where the discrepancy came.
Yeah, that's why
I don't have Cat on my list. I don't have him.
Because when we did the honorable mentions, that's what I was trying to figure out. Because somebody had got left off of one of ours.
Yeah, that's on me. I tweaked on that, but he's still over Julius Randle. Even still,
I told you the 3 or 4 down is weird. It's hard, but yeah, I had him over Jaren too.
Okay, I don't have much to say about Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, I'll say this year. Yeah, we'll see.
Like you said, because he played 29 games last year, and I think that before long, I've thought this for a while, that he'll be on a different team before long also. Yeah. So we'll see, how his role might change. But
it'll be trade deadline, I think. If they're not where they want to be at by trade deadline, he'll probably get moved.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the right thing to do, but they're not going to trade Rudy after,
Yeah. Karl Anthony Towns. He's such a weird player now because he's not the number 1 player on his team anymore.
Right.
We know how, like you said, we know how good he can be. He's one of the best big men shooters of all time. But it looked really clunky last year when him and Rudy Gobert were on the floor together. So as long as they shared the floor together, I don't know about Karl Anthony Towns, man.
He definitely could be lower. I could have put Jaren and Randle above him, but I wanted to give him the benefit. But I think they will have more time this year. They're going to figure something out to make it work if he doesn't get traded.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll have more to say about him when I mention him in the next episode. That's on me. I tweet, by the way. I'll get to my number 4. My 3 and my 4, I flip-flopped for a little while.
Okay, yeah, I know you're 3 and 4 then. Yeah.
But ultimately, I went with Jaren Jackson at my number 4. I went with Jaren Jackson Jr. at my number 4. Defensive Player of the Year last year, 19.7 rebounds, shot over 36% from 3 on 4.5 attempts. Like you said, they're going to need him to be that version of himself and maybe more on the offensive end, especially at the start of the season without Ja Morant. Jaren Jackson is a great, great defender. I think that he silenced a lot of the fouling narrative last year, especially in the playoffs. That was our main concern with them facing the Lakers. But he stayed on the floor. He stayed on the floor. I don't think he fouled out in a single game of that series. And he definitely got better as the season went on. So I think that's an area of his game that will continue to get better as the defensive discipline that he shows. And I think a lot of that comes with guarding centers. He's got more experience guarding centers now. Yeah. He's also a guy who can switch onto the wings and guard guys. We know his block numbers are going to be there. We know his steal numbers are going to be there. The counting stats are going to be there with Jaren Jackson. We know that he's a great defender. We don't need counting stats to tell us that. Offensive consistency is something that I think goes along with some of his shot selection as well. I think he can be a little 2-3 point dependent at times. I'd like to see him take on some post matchups a little more, especially whenever he's matched up against smaller guys, as he is a lot of the time with Steven Adams running center. Jaren Jackson gets matched up against a lot of smaller guys than him, and he doesn't really take advantage of those matchups. I think he can get to the free throw line a lot more that way too, drawing fouls. So I think offensively, disciplinary things, I think, are the name of the game for Jaren Jackson. 36% from three. I didn't realize he shot that well from three. I wouldn't have thought it, but that's really good. That's really good 3-point shooting numbers for Jaren Jackson. Like I said, defensively, you know what he's going to bring. But I think the discipline in Jaren Jackson Jr.'s game will, if that goes up, I think we'll really see him, continue to emerge, maybe to an All-NBA caliber level.
Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't even mention the fouling, so he's grown on me a little bit. Mm-hmm. But so he was your number 4?
He was my number 4.
My number 4, this is where I have Zion.
Okay.
Like we know what he did last year. I know you talked about him already. 26, 7, and 5. When he was healthy, number 1 seed in the West, which was relatively early in the year. But he looked really good. We talked about him last year for MVP a little bit, some when he was on that stretch. Yeah.
Ouch.
So
looking good.
So we know he can be when he's healthy. I guess it's like how we said with Kawhi, just he's a lot younger than Kawhi, so he does miss a lot of time. Which hopefully this year, he stays healthy. I didn't realize, but he got hurt against Philadelphia this year, so I apologize, Pelican fans.
Didn't realize that either.
So it was, and he was cooking us that game, and then something happened with the hamstring. But this might be the last year I give Zion the benefit of the doubt. If he needs to play, he averages what?
He needs to play at least 50 games. He needs to play at least 50 games.
I think he averages below 30 a year right now, doesn't he? His average
probably
play per season.
Yeah, probably.
So this is probably like I said, healthy. We know he's top 3 lock when healthy. So if he can stay healthy, his numbers and consistencies is going to be there. He's just got to stay on the floor. Like I said, I know it was a small sample size last year, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt for this year.
Yeah, that's the thing. We know he's like top 3 caliber whenever he's at his best, but I'm just so tired of projecting with him. I'm just taking everything that he's done so far, his
last year, the
availability. I'm taking it all at face value and I'm just going off that until I see anything different. That's all.
Yeah, like I said, I guess your Zion year last year to be mine this year. This is the last year I'm giving him.
Maybe. So I assume then we have the same top 3. I would assume.
Yeah.
Pascal Siakam is number 3, right?
Yep.
Pascal Siakam, 24 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 48 from the field, 32 from 3 on 4 attempts.
Yeah.
He was an all-star last year, right? I'm pretty sure he was an all-star.
I think so.
I think he was. But we know Pascal Siakam is another one of those playmaking fours. He gets termed as the Beyblade for.
He was all-star.
That's one of my favorite nicknames in the NBA. I love Pascal Siakam Beyblade.
Yeah, he played.
That's my favorite.
They played Philadelphia 2 years ago in the playoffs. That was like the whole thing. Just the spin cycle every game.
That's my favorite, man. But Pascal Siakam is a super well-rounded player. He's added the perimeter element to his game, and we know that he's a switchable defender as well.
Yeah.
So that's what gave him the edge over Jaren Jackson, in my opinion, was the completeness of his game. Offensively, we know he can score, he can play make, and he's a very solid defender as well. Ran a lot of 5 last year. Ran a lot more 5 than we've seen him run in the past. So that's something that we may continue to see.
Is that before Pirtle? That got Jakob Pirtle?
Yeah, it was pre-trade deadline, yeah. But, yeah, Pascal Siakam ran a lot of 5. He started at the 5 a lot of games last year. So maybe that's something we continue to see as the Raptors, hopefully blow it up completely. Maybe he's not even on the Raptors, as we've seen him, be mentioned with a couple teams like the Hawks, Heat, teams like that. So,
yeah, we'll I think with Fred VanVleet leaving, his offensive load definitely will be more.
Have to be.
Huh?
I said it'll have to be.
Yeah, I think not 100%, but I think Scotty Barnes will have more of the point guard role, and I know they got Dennis Schroeder. So, yeah, his offensive load will definitely be a lot more. And like you said, he's a versatile defender, so I think he was not the obvious, but he was a obvious top four lock.
Yeah, for sure. I assume at number 2 you have Kevin Durant then. I assume you have KD at number 2. Yep, 29, 7, and 5 for KD. 50, 40, 90 guy last year. How about that for KD? Shot 40% from 3 on 5 attempts, 56% from the field. Crazy, crazy offensive efficiency for Kevin Durant, of course. A new situation now in Phoenix. Yet to see him play a full year alongside Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. Super excited to watch the Suns this year. Kevin Durant, in my opinion, still a top 7, 8 player in basketball for sure.
Yeah.
Defensively, we know he can bring it defensively, even at his older age. Switchable, still a great player, Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I think he had a really underrated or really good defensive year last year, especially on Brooklyn. He played the 5 some on Brooklyn, so he had a really good defensive year. He had some good blocks. That role might be increased some on Phoenix.
Yeah, they might need it.
Huh?
I said they might need it, yeah.
Yeah, so especially in that starting lineup, or even if he runs with like the second unit, but yeah, I think I'm ready to see what Phoenix looks like.
Yeah. I really hope he plays Olympics. I really hope Kevin Durant plays the Olympics.
I think you think this could be his last year for the Olympics? Or he hasn't made it next. I think him, LeBron, maybe Steph, this might be the last one they do.
All signs point to that. Yeah, even guys like James Harden also.
Yeah.
I hope they play. I really hope they play. I hope KD plays. And at number 1, we got Giannis Antetokounmpo at number 1. 31 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, 55 from the floor, 28 from 3 on 2.5 attempts. Top 2 player in the world, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Not much needs to be said. He's a top 3 defensive player of the year candidate almost year in and year out at this point too. A top 3 MVP candidate. We know at his best, he spearheads one of the best teams in basketball, if not the best, the Milwaukee Bucks.
He like the top 2, top 3 player.
Without a doubt.
So, yeah, top 3 for sure. Steph just sometimes, I don't know. But like you said, the Bucks, we'll see how they are this year. Could be the best team, if not one of the best teams. We know what he's gonna do.
Just to throw a crazy off the wall question at you. Is Giannis the best player in the world still to you?
No.
You don't think so? You think it's Jokic?
Yep.
Okay.
I think
I've still got Giannis.
I think Jokic's playoff run, which I know I'll get to it, next episode. I had the whole Embiid Jokic thing, but the Jokic run in the playoffs last year definitely, I think it gave him the number 1 spot for me. Which
I've still got Giannis on top, man.
Honestly, the top 3, I'll say top 3, maybe 2. It changes almost. it could change like that easily almost. It depends on the night or the stretch, maybe.
Yeah. Giannis putting pressure on the Bucks too. He says he's out of there if they don't come with it.
I'm really excited for these standings because there's a lot of variables for different teams that I wanna get into and look at because he is coming off of knee surgery, I think, or knee procedure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he's putting pressure. So if not this year, we'll see what happens.
He's coming with it, man. That was an interesting list. That was a really interesting list.
Yeah,
that's my bad about the Karl-Anthony Towns thing. I tweaked on that. My bad, Jacob.
Look,
I completely forgot what we said because I even looked on Basketball Reference. So Basketball Reference had him listed as a power forward last year.
We did
if he was on my list, he probably would have been. Honestly, number 8. I think he would have been below Zion.
Honestly, Cat, Jaren, Randall, and Markkanen were that group of 4 was really, I think I could put in any order. But I don't know. I just gave him the benefit, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm taking into account the fact he played 29 games like Zion.
Yeah, I understand. So that's why I definitely could have been lower, but I think he'll have a bounce back year. Whether it be in Minnesota, Atlanta, or wherever.
Right. That's power forwards, man. Jacob, you want to finish off with another grid right here again?
Why not?
Let's do it. I've got it pulled up here already, so we can get into the grid. This one shouldn't be hard. This one shouldn't be a hard grid like last time.
Is it?
It's the hoop grid, so we can put in multiple players.
Right.
Categories are a lot easier for this one. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First one, Clippers and the Heat.
Clippers and Heat.
Clippers and the Heat. Right off rip. All right, I've got a gold already. I've got a 2%er in Ronnie Tiriaf. Lob City Clippers back up big. Can we think of anybody better than that? I know like Caron Butler, but Caron Butler will be higher.
Yeah.
You think of anybody like recent?
That's what I'm trying to think of.
I can't off the top of my head. Cody Zeller has not played for the Clippers, I don't think.
No.
Marquise Morris. I can put him in, but I don't think
that might have been Marcus Morris.
Yeah, Marcus Morris plays for them, but yeah, Marquise Morris has not played for the Clippers.
Okay.
That's cool though. We got a gold to start out. That's a good start. Clippers and the Rockets. There are a lot of players who have played for the Clippers and the Rockets.
I know 2 off top.
Patrick Beverly.
Yeah.
One, and Montrezl Harrell, I assume, is the other.
Yeah, them 2, or Chris Paul.
Eric Gordon.
I'm
gonna put in Montrezl Harrell. I think we used him last time. Montrezl Harrell's a gold. Wow, Montrezl Harrell, another 2%er.
He was only in Houston for a year, I think.
Yeah, that's where he started. 2% for Montrezl Harrell is actually crazy. I think we're good with that. Any Clippers All-NBA player ever. All-NBA is one of the columns, so there are a lot of players we could use. DeAndre Jordan has made All-NBA. He was All-NBA first team, in fact, back in the day. Think about that. The center position used to be so bad that DeAndre Jordan was the first team All-NBA center.
He's like a skeleton.
For real. Jacob's favorite player, DeAndre Jordan. He's a 12% guy, which is awful.
Yeah, I liked him until we got him. He's at 12%. What about that?
Obviously, Chris Paul and Blake Griffin have.
They'll be higher.
Kawhi and PG have. Russell Westbrook has. Not on the Clippers, he hasn't though.
Okay.
12% DeAndre Jordan. Off the top, I can't think of anybody who would be higher. Who played for the Clippers back in the day?
I'm trying to think of older Clippers teams.
And say like Bob McAdoo. I think I said him for last episode too. Yeah, Bob McAdoo's a 10%, so that's a lower. That's the best I can do, honestly. I
Yeah.
can think about 80s, 90s, early 2000s Clippers. I can't think about that.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Heat Celtics. Heat Celtics is another one that has some pretty notable players.
Yeah, I know Shaq would be one, but that's
That's not pretty high. What about? No, that didn't work.
Heat.
What about Avery Bradley has, I think. Yeah, Avery Bradley's a 3%.
What about Josh Richardson?
Josh Richardson.
He might not have played for Boston.
He has. Yeah,
Okay.
Josh Richardson's played for Boston. Another 3%. It's a little higher than Avery Bradley, but still
Okay.
another one.
We'll leave Avery Bradley for right now.
Yeah, Avery Bradley's a good one. Celtic and a Rocket. I can think of one off the top of my head that's probably pretty low. I'm thinking of Daniel Tice.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Daniel Tice. 9%, higher than I thought. 9% for Daniel Tice.
Rocket. Daniel Tice. It might be Daniel Tice. Might be the best.
What about? I think I can think of one. A pull, in fact. Oh yeah, 1%. Before both of our time, but I know this player for some weird reason. Von Wafer, early 2010s player, 2K legend, and now any Celtics All-NBA player, which there are a ton of them.
Is there somebody that had it one year that it was like unexpected?
Right. I'm thinking no, Gordon Hayward wouldn't have. Kyrie is 2%. Kyrie Irving is 2%. That's pretty insane. I mean, I guess he only got it once or maybe twice because he was only there for 2 years. But wow, the fact that Kyrie is 2%, that's pretty crazy. All right, last little column. 1,500 steals, 1,500 steals in a career for the Miami Heat. Obviously, you think of D Wade. Gary Payton. Yeah, Gary Payton played for the Miami Heat, but he's 17%. So
I don't think Jimmy would have 1,500. I don't think he has 1,500 right now.
Let's try just in case. Jimmy Butler does not. That's correct. He does not. About Mario Chalmers, I doubt he does. Yeah, Mario Chalmers does not.
I doubt Haslam does.
I could put him in, but yeah, I doubt it too. Haslam does not. Well, I know Tim Hardaway. Tim Hardaway played for the Miami Heat. Tim Hardaway does not either. LeBron obviously does too. I'll put him.
Alonzo didn't, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'll put in LeBron just to see. Yeah, LeBron's 22%. No, thank you. Dwayne Wade is 26%. So yeah, Gary Payton's the best thing we got right now. About Ray Allen? You think Ray Allen might have 1,500 steals?
Maybe.
Ray Allen does not.
I doubt Mike Miller. I doubt.
No.
Battier.
I'm trying Shane Battier, but yeah, I doubt it. Yeah, does Bosh? Would Bosh?
I don't think so.
Yeah, Bosh doesn't either. Man, Gary Payton at 16 is just high. I don't like that.
I don't think of early Heat guards, but
yeah, I can't. Maybe like Glenn Rice. Maybe did Glenn Rice ever get 1,500 steals? He did not. Yeah, my knowledge of Heat guards pre early 2000s is not good. Might just have to roll with Gary at 16, low key.
Yeah.
We can go into the Rockets 1,500. Obviously, Chris Paul has. I wonder if Kenny Smith did. I don't think he played for long enough to. No, he did not. What about?
I don't think Pat Bev does.
We can try it.
He can't.
He does not.
Okay.
He does not.
Yeah, Chris Paul.
Yeah, I'll put Chris Paul in, but he's bound to be extremely, extremely high. Only 12%.
1,500 steals.
Who are we missing? Does James Harden have 1,500 steals, do you think?
Maybe.
Couldn't.
What about Russ?
James Harden has 1,500 steals. Wow. He's higher than Chris Paul.
He doesn't play defense, but he gets steals somehow.
Russell Westbrook probably does have 1,500 steals. Yeah, he does. Russell Westbrook's only 9%. Huh.
I'm trying to think of older Rockets players.
Would Eric Gordon somehow have?
Maybe. I doubt PJ Tucker does.
We can try it. PJ Tucker does not.
Did what's his name?
Hakeem Olajuwon did.
I'm pretty sure Gerald Green didn't.
Gerald Green. Yeah, I doubt it. He did not. Russell Westbrook at 9%, honestly, is not bad. I'm cool with that.
I'll do Russ.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. And then the last one, All NBA player, 1,500 steals. So we could go with a bunch of different players here. I'm thinking of like a lesser known guy who did it. Maybe like All NBA, 1,500 steals. I think Goran Dragic made All NBA one time. I don't know if he has 1,500 steals, but I'll try him. No.
Oh, okay. I know. Then Clint Capella's not on there.
Did he make All NBA?
He did.
I'll try him for the Rockets right here.
Maybe not.
He hasn't played long. Yeah, he hasn't played long enough to get 1,500 steals, I don't think.
1,500. So it's All NBA.
Think of obvious ones. You got like Jason Kidd. You got like Steve Nash. You've got John Stockton. You've got Chris Paul.
You said it's All NBA and 1,500 steals?
Yeah. Dwayne Wade.
Gary Payton.
We use Gary Payton for Heat. Yeah.
That's right.
I wonder. Wait a minute. Jeff Green's played for the Rockets.
Yeah.
Dang, he doesn't have 1,500 steals. I just thought since he's played since the dawn of time that he might have 1,500 steals. I'm down to go with an older guy, like Bob Cousy probably has 1,500 steals, or like Jerry West probably has 1,500 steals, or like Billy Cunningham.
Yeah, we can try Billy.
Billy Cunningham.
Has he been All NBA? I'm sure he has.
Oh, he only played for 10 years, so he might not. Yeah, he's not. He doesn't fit the criteria. Somehow he's top 75 All NBA ever, and he played 10 years. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I'll try Bob Cousy. Bob Cousy doesn't even work. He's a fraud. Bob Cousy is a fraud. What about George Gervin? George Gervin, the Iceman.
I forgot about him.
He only played 10 years though, so yeah, he didn't. You want to just You want to just go Kawhi Leonard and cut our losses?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just go Kawhi. Kawhi doesn't even fit it, probably because he doesn't play regular season games. Good grief. Okay. That's probably a sign not to do that. 70s, 80s guards. I'll try Jerry West. I didn't try Jerry West.
They should.
Jerry West does not. It's interesting. Y'all are not in the field like that. Scottie Pippen for sure does, but I feel like he'd be high.
You can try him.
I think Steve Nash. I think Steve Nash is the one here. I think Steve Nash will be pretty low. Not even Steve Nash? What? There's no way Steve Nash can get 1,500 steals. Okay, I'm going Scottie Pippen and calling it. This is probably going to be high, but it's a gold. He's only 3%.
All right, well, I'll run with that.
Bad. Better than 64% of grids. That's pretty good. We had a rarity score of 53. That's our best one yet.
Yeah, I'm on with that.
We had 6 golds. That's a solid round. That's a solid round. All right. We can call it an episode there. We'll have centers next week to wrap up the position rankings. Jacob, you got anything to say before we close?
That's it.
All right. See y'all next time.
Yeah.